Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on the front page of Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the First News newspaper. The major story here: coup, my wife, son missing, Gabonese president cries out. Coup, my wife, son missing, Gabonese president cries out. Begs for freedom as junta detains him, arrests son for treason. All the details on the front page of the First News newspaper. We move now to the front page of the Daily Trust and still talking about the coup in Gabon. Contagious autocracy spreading in Africa, Tinubu says. Murik warns Nigerian military against emulating Gabonese army. Why we overthrew Bongo coupists are saying this. All right, you find the details on the front page of the Daily Trust. And to the Daily Independent, still talking about the coup in Gabon. Tinubu opened talks with AU leaders, others on way forward. Tinubu opens talks with AU leaders, others on way forward. And the writer here says, France, China, Commonwealth, EU, others condemn overthrow. France, China, Commonwealth, EU, others condemn overthrow. You find details on the front page of the Daily Independent. To this day newspaper now, Tinubu on Gabon in talks with world leaders to address spreading autocracy. Tinubu on Gabon in talks with world leaders to address spreading autocracy. All right, you find details on this front page of this day newspaper. To Nigerian Tribune, Gabon coup, rule of law must not perish in Africa, Tinubu says. Gabon coup, rule of law must not perish in Africa. President Tinubu is speaking. Ibrahim?
This Nigeria says Gabon coup, rule of law mustn't perish in Africa. Tinubu warns. Rule of law mustn't perish in Africa. That's President Tinubu giving out warning there. Leadership newspaper is next. The Kika Gabon coup. Fear grips African leaders as continent descends into dictatorship. Tinubu, world leaders condemn coup. Fear grips African leaders as continent descends into dictatorship. And then the president of Nigeria, world leaders also condemn the coup. Punch newspaper, Gabon, UN, Commonwealth, others condemn coup. President Tinubu warns of spread. UN, Commonwealth, others condemn coup as President Tinubu warns of spread. The Nation newspaper, Tinubu, world leaders, UN, AU, EU reject Gabon junta. Tinubu, world leaders, UN, AU, EU reject Gabon junta. That's the Nation newspaper. The Guardian newspaper, democracy in shambles. African governments risk financial blockade. FDI squeeze over rising coup. Democracy in shambles. African governments risk financial blockade. FDI, that's foreign direct investment, squeeze over rising coup. Blueprint is next. Coup amid tension in Gabon. Crude oil hits $86 per barrel. And President Tinubu says contagious autocracy spreading in Africa. Promises AU intervention in Gabon, Niger. And junta places ousted President Bongo under house arrest. Nabs son for treason. Coup amid tension in Gabon. Crude oil hits $86 per barrel. That's according to the blueprint. The penultimate paper that I have here with me is Nigerian News Direct. Subsidy palliatives. Ogun, Oyo, Oshun, others confirm receipt of 2 billion naira federal government funding as states roll out food aid to ease hardship. Subsidy palliatives, Ogun, Oyo, Oshun, others confirm receipt of 2 billion naira federal government funding as states roll out food aid to ease hardship. And the last but not least is Business Day. Pricier imported seeds open window for local firm. Pricier imported seeds open window for local firms. That's according to the Business Day.
All right, let's look at the matter of the coup in Gabon. and the reactions we're getting. Let's even begin from home, talking about President Bola Tinubu's reaction to the coup in Gabon, saying that the rule of law must not perish in Africa. He's being concerned with this recent developments and recall the role rather he played championing the cause of democracy in Nigeria during the military rule in Nigeria. How it is that he and some other Nigerians were at the forefront of championing the cause of democracy. And now
that we're enjoying today.
Yes, and now seeing this happening, down the line, he is really concerned, especially about the rule of law. Recall that the military had said that the reason, that's in Gabon now, that the reason why they decided to oust the president was because of the outcome of the election, that it did not reflect, the intentions and the minds of the people, and they are deciding to intervene. And, the question is, how can the military intervene in a situation like that?
We are going, the way I started yesterday, making gains, and then we are going back, decades of where we thought we had left, because coup shouldn't be fashionable again in this day and era. But then what about the leaders who say that they also strive to entrench democracy? Are they doing things that will make democracy even last longer? Even if they are doing the wrong thing, because a lot of critics have always been saying, experts analysts have been saying that the way Africa is being administered, the way it is being ruled, governed, is not the way it should be. Democracy is not really, we have democracy, but it's not entrenched the way it should be, because of the way they subjugated the judiciary, the legislature, right under their own whims and caprices. But it's not so good to still see us, backtracking into where we thought we'd left. As President Tinubu says, contagious autocracy spreading in Africa, but then promises AU intervention in Gabon. We saw the video of the ousted president, Ali Bongo, who is in house arrest, saying that he doesn't know what is happening. That make noise, everybody should make noise.
And then the people went on the streets and started making noise, chanting the national anthem, the Gabonese national.
No, I think some it's mixed feelings.
It's mixed feelings, but
some are in support of the coup.
Yes.
And others...
We always get that.
Right.
But it seemed like there was a tilt towards, because even outside of Gabon, there were reports of Gabonese celebrating his, ouster.
Yeah.
Now, because that he and his father had, ruled the country over half a century.
Yeah, like dynastic.
So about 53 to 55 years. These are the two persons a majority of these people have known. And so they are saying, perhaps there are those who are saying, this is an opportunity for us to get something different. Recall that even his opposition during the election said that he should hand over peacefully and not cause a bloodshed, so to speak, because the sit-tight mentality was not sitting well with a majority of Gabonese.
That's right, that's right.
And if you look at the papers this morning, one of the papers was looking at some other African leaders who have had this sit-tight mentality. And the question is, how is it that organizations or unions like AU are not speaking to these people? You have spent your time. It is time for you to step aside for some other persons to come in, let democracy thrive. Because what we see is that some of these leaders change the constitution in their favor.
In their own favor, right.
And the people are not happy. Even this Ali Bongo now, it is reported that he and his family have benefited immensely from the country's resources, that the 2 million people, just 2 million people, have not benefited in any way, so to speak.
For more than half a century.
Decades.
More than half
for
a century.
decades.
Yeah.
And France too is reported to have benefited.
Way, largely
way more than the people themselves.
You see, the colonialists is something, the West, I feel they are smarter, because France still kept on with his own stranglehold on his colonies.
Yeah.
There's lots of monies that have been remitted to France, year in, year out. But the West colony, sorry, talking about the Britain and all of that, they allowed some of their colonies, their former colonies, to at least to thrive to a larger extent. So you see that the anti-French sentiment is really, really growing in across all of their former colonies. And Algeria also lambasted France, with what they intended to do with Niger. But it's really not so good. We talk about Niger, we talk about Mali, we talk about Burkina Faso. Now we are now having a conversation, worried about what is going on in Gabon. So if this is now spreading across African soil, where are we taking ourselves? Where exactly are we heading to? Because we say we want to get to the El Dorado. It's so sad that the small Central African country, Gabon, is very rich. It's oil-rich nation. But as rich as they are, the citizens, they live as low as $5.50 per day. So it does not really reflect in the lives of the Gabonese. If you say they've made gains. At the time, he also was down with a stroke. That was what led to the earlier uprising, which was aborted, and I think they lost about 2 people at that time. And now they staged a proper coup, and we saw the soldiers, the military, the coupists, eulogizing their new leader.
Interesting how someone who is closest to you can be the one dealing with.
Yoruba would say the ant that is feasting in Refoloa. The ant that is feasting on the vegetable is actually living within the vegetable. So if those who don't know
who is also said to have benefited from the corruption as well, he doesn't also have a clean slate.
That's right.
So he who must come to equity must come with clean hands, as it is. But how is it that he is not coming with clean hands, so to speak, from my perspective, because the reports have said he has no benefited from the corruption, and when he was asked, he said that it's a private matter. So what is he bringing differently to the table this time around? That's the question I'm asking. If you say you are coming to defend democracy or defend the people, what are you bringing differently to the table?
Well, he will be the one to answer that, because at the end of the day, the sanctions will be coming from AU. Sanctions will be coming from...
They have decided to shut their borders. They did that quickly. So before you begin to think of sanctioning us, we are shutting you out.
But you can't cut yourself off from the rest of your neighbors. There is no way, because the international trade will always be there. That is even what makes more money, for you, because there'll be more sanctions, and at the end of the day, it is the grass. That's the people, the ordinary man, the common man, that will suffer.
Absolutely.
From these sanctions. We see what is already happening in Niger. Prices of goods already skyrocketing. Food skyrocketing. ECOWAS, Nigeria cut off their power supply to them. You being in darkness, we know what electricity will do to your business. So these sanctions will continue to, they will tighten this sanction, and it continue to bite into the lives of the ordinary, the common man in Gabon, in Niger, in Mali, Burkina Faso. Name all of these countries that we're now seeing that military incursion is becoming quite fashionable in Africa, which we don't want.
African leaders should actually sit with France and begin to speak. Do they have the boldness to actually speak with France to say, obviously, this revolt says something that these African countries are not happy with. So don't you think perhaps you should step aside for a bit and just allow your colonialists, these people, to just handle things themselves? I know that will be difficult to do, but African leaders have to muster that courage.
They will muster the courage. At the same time, they are frolicking with China and Russia. And it's still more like the neo-colonial scramble for Africa.
Deal with this.
They say Russia too will come in and also, take his own advantage. China too is, looking for all his own opportunities.
Yes, because we have the resources.
So what they should do is, they can't cut them off, is to now look at how to counterbalance whatever it is dominance France has, whatever it is Russia is bringing and China is bringing. They should counterbalance by establishing proper, not neither here nor there, do not
No,
be
you should
seen
have
to
a
be too
stand.
here. Exactly.
You should have a stand.
And that was what I'm saying.
Have a stand. For you to have that stand, you have to tell people to stay off. Let's resolve our issues.
Exactly.
Let's know how we want to
Exactly.
handle these issues, and then speak with one voice.
Yes.
And say, you know what? If you want to work with us, this is what we have, tabled, and this is what we have agreed, and this is where we stand.
That's right.
Speaking with one voice is very important, because whatever happens to anyone can consume every
other person
on the continent.
Right.
So it's important that all these persons, let's even look at what is going on. France, China, whoever you are, allow us some space. Let's resolve our issues.
It's very important for these world powers to, soften, they just soft pedal and also release the tightened noose around the neck of Africans. They're stealing us dry, but we still do not want this to be resolved
through
military incursion.
Who are the enablers?
It is us. I won't say it is our leaders, because it is us. Those who are supposed to make the noise when they see, okay, on our way to the office this morning, I was having a conversation with one of our colleagues. He said that the foreign people, when they come, they give us aids, they give us all of these, and at night they steal us dry. And some people are enablers. They are allowing this to happen. Well, we are leaving now, but then it's also very sad that we have Gabon international peer Emerick Aubameyang, who is from there, the former Chelsea forward, was one of the strikers in the best world, this happening in his country. And we want to see him also speak up against whatever it is that is happening in his own country for a better African continent.
Absolutely. African leaders have their work cut out for them.